Hey everyone, welcome back to Tarot Tunes and Moons. We are going to talk today about the upcoming new moon solar eclipse in Aquarius. That's coming in about 7 hours. So this is an Aquarius new moon that's happening at 4 a.m. PST here in Oregon, where I am. And if you haven't noticed, it's been a little bit intense out. I've definitely been going through it. I'm talking to people all around me, and a lot of what I'm hearing from people is words like hectic, overwhelming, just super intense, everything everywhere all at once. Ideas, thoughts, things just coming in, but also um, illusions and things crumbling in a very dramatic way. And that is all very eclipse season. And so I just want to talk a little bit about not only the event of the eclipse itself, the new moon and all that comes with that and the energies in it, but also just kind of what we've been going through maybe over the past week and what we might be experiencing into what is known as eclipse season, which is the time between the solar eclipse now, February 17th, Tuesday, and the lunar eclipse that's coming on March 3rd. So we'll just kind of start with the chart as we always do, work our way around. So I guess I'll just begin with breaking down this moment right now. So we're going to talk about, first and foremost, the sun and moon at 28 degrees of Aquarius. Then we've got, not far from that, just about 11 degrees out, is Mars in Aquarius. Um, and then other players in this are going to be the ruler of Aquarius is Saturn, who's just moved into Aries at 0 degrees and is sitting very close to Neptune, who's also recently moved into Aries at 0 degrees. These two are going to conjunct on the 20th, and we'll talk more a little bit about that. But for now, let's just talk about these moons and this moon, this sun and moon, and the aspects to them. They are getting a square from Uranus, and Uranus energy has been real loud for me, real prevalent in the field. And I kind of just want to take a moment to maybe talk about the past week, the past 2 weeks of what we've seen with Uranus, making basically first trines and then squares. Let's see, here's the first one with Mercury, and then we'll go by days, and we'll see, boom, there's Mercury coming in, and then we had Venus coming into a square with Uranus, and then we have the Sun coming into a square with Uranus on this full moon or new moon. And then finally, we'll have Mars coming into a square. So Mercury, Venus, Sun, Moon, Mars, all inner planets, right? Personal planets, planets that we experience very often within ourselves and within the ways that we are moving and shaking in the world. And Uranus is this outer planet. Uranus is known as the awakener, the lightning bolt, the shock, the realization. And I don't know about you guys, but I've felt this nervous energy, this anxiousness, this kind of like something's happening, something's changing. For me, that's Uranus making its presence felt very loud. And it's going to make its presence felt a lot of times about things that um, we can take action on, that we can awaken to, that we can see in clarity, and that we can move and shake. And for me, what that's looked like is a lot more videos here, and also on my school, which I've just opened, a new space that I'm creating where I'm essentially making a living notebook of everything astrology, tarot, and healing arts. Also, a little bit, a sprinkler too, of some other things, journaling, depth psychology, nature connection. And that's my Uranus awakening, that it's time. It's time for me to move into that space of being an astrologer online, being a speaker online, being a teacher and a mentor in a more visible place online. So Aquarius, let's talk a little bit about Aquarius for a second. Aquarius is the second sign after Capricorn that's ruled by Saturn. And whereas Capricorn, I have a Capricorn stellium, a lot of Capricorn energy in my chart. And whereas Capricorn is earthy, practical, long-term, there's that nature to Aquarius where it's practical and long-term, but in an air sign and fixed, there's a lot more of a fixed gazed into something of how can I learn this system and how can I change it? And I really think of that archetype and that phrase in what we're seeing right now going on in the world, but also possibly in ourselves. And that's what I'm experiencing. I think of a phrase I use for Aquarius is it's the revolutionary thing, but it's also the revolutionary who is fixed on the purpose of learning the system and the intricacies of the system and how things work, the Saturnian rules, order, legacy, authority, such that new thoughts and new ways of thinking can come in to make it more better for all. A big part of Aquarian concepts are the collective and what's best for the collective. With this new moon, we've no doubt been seeing maybe at first on a personal level, but also on a collective level, a certain dissatisfaction with the way things are and wanting something beyond that, wanting something better than that. And you'll see it on the streets, you'll see it in, the news, you'll see it playing out in people's lives. And I think that's one of the big themes of this eclipse is what are you moving toward for betterment, for this kind of change in some sort of systemic thing, or also in a more mature Saturnian way of being. And phrases like thinking outside of the box get thrown around a lot with Aquarius, but I want to put this in the sense of the Saturnian, which is Saturn has just entered into Aries. Neptune has just entered into Aries. There's a big shift going on. We've got fire in the field right now, but we've also got all this air. And this air here in Aquarius, and eventually when Uranus moves into Gemini, is going to have an interesting combination because the air is the mental, the air is the thoughts, the air is the idea sphere, the air is the intellectual at times. And behind the scenes here, we've got Pluto in Aquarius at 4 degrees. So let's talk about the players in Aquarius right now. It's Pluto at 4, it's Mars at 19, and it's the Sun and Moon at 28, right? And what they're all kind of combining to create is this cauldron of depth, of shadow work in some cases, of how we're going to, on the Mars aspect of it, how you're going to fight for it, how you're going to go after it, how you're going to take action. And then the Sun and Moon happening in your body, happening in your emotions, happening in your intellect, and happening in your personality and your drive. That's all super fucking intense right now, right? And it's squared to Uranus, which is a challenging frictional aspect that's going to get a certain amount of tension. And maybe that tension has to continue to build and build and build until it finally breaks. And your realization or your change or your shift sometimes can happen all of a sudden and be much easier than you thought it would be. So I think looking at those kind of themes, taking action, all the work you're doing internally, seeing how the world is, understanding maybe your new role in this new world, and also having a realization suddenly about a shift or a change. And what this realization might be really focused on is where the North Node is right now. So the North Node is the point, the head of the dragon. It's going to be the thing that you're maybe hungering for or you're moving after, you have a tenacious, voracious appetite for, but also something that you perhaps have not experienced yet. And with Venus there, Venus is something about money, something about finance and resource, something about art, beauty, and relationships. The Venusian is going to be something that you're suddenly aware that you want to move towards, especially in Pisces, exalted, super happy, but also mutable and watery, transcendental, right? This new message of the types of relationships you want to have, the types of resources you want to have, the types of arrangements in your life that you want to have, be they aesthetic or practical, those are all getting like the buttons getting pressed, the loudspeakers turning on, and the eclipse is saying, hey, go after him already, right? And with Mercury having recently passed over the North Node, that might have been another moment of like, oh, this is the way I can think about that. Or, oh, these are my needs emotionally. Or, oh, this is what I'm looking to communicate. And as Mercury moves towards this trine with Jupiter, which has been retrograding in Cancer, there's something about communicating what your needs are, perhaps to yourself, perhaps to what they are to other people, about safety, security, so that you can expand into the world, seek wisdom, seek information in good ways. And maybe you've had to, with Jupiter retrograding, take 2 steps back before you can take 3 steps forward, right? And maybe the intensity of this eclipse is making that so evident and so clear as you're learning to navigate these new energies, this Neptune and Saturn in Aries. And this is something as it moves into a conjunction that we're going to have this, a lot of people are talking about a fog or an illusion. Neptune, I really like the idea of Neptune not only as a fog, but also as this fantastical, wild, deluded place, almost the Dionysian thing, right? The green man. And then Saturn is the elder, the grandfather, the structured thing in a world that is very new and very fresh, 0 degrees Aries. So as we're entering this new world, old parts of us need to be shed, need to be let go of, need to be dropped. And that's what eclipses are so good for. And that's what eclipses tend to do so intensely here in this case. So the information that you're receiving, give yourself time to integrate it. The ways this is playing out around you, give yourself food, water, rest, allow yourself time as we move into eclipse season to allow the process to continue. And as we move into the Neptune Saturn conjunction, which happens on the 20th, then we're going to also continue moving into our next eclipse, which I'll talk about in my next video. But really, this is this moment of, I think, receiving information. And a big theme, especially with this moon, I want to talk about is what needs to change. And maybe it doesn't need to change immediately, but how can I ground and root that knowing into myself, my body, and my awareness? And how do the things that I relate to showcase to me the path that I want to be taking moving forward in a world of uncertainty? And to me, this is the arising of a sense of warriorship, of purpose, of a destination that you don't know, but a journey that so far you've been so well prepared by, that you are well prepared for the next stages of this. And this, I think, is what's going to continue as we move into the more Piscean depths, because when we go from Aquarius into Pisces, we'll continue along with the moon first making its move through Pisces, and then eventually the sun getting there. And then we'll have this nice Pisces party. And to top it off, we get our little conjunction there, right? That's on the 20th. And then we're soon moving into Mercury retrograde territory by the 26th. You got Mercury retrograde at 22. And then Mercury gets to go back conjunct with Venus and check in on what those Venusian themes are to your intellect, to your mind, and what you need to communicate maybe with friends, family, loved ones, or coworkers or people in your spheres. And as you do that reflection, there's going to be an undercurrent of Piscean watery emotion that you'll be working with, right? And then we're going to get, as we continue back into, as we move to our, God, it's so much. It's a lot. All right, so this is the lunar eclipse, and then we get all that coming. So for now, I think I'm going to keep it to this because we're going to talk about just like this move here, this shift of these inner planets and what they're doing, how they're playing around. 16th to the 17th. This is our lunar eclipse, right? And then we'll move into this. So the themes I think here are understanding on an intellectual level, or on an air level. What's your box? What's your rules? What's your structure? And what are you integrating by thinking out of it? What are you changing about it, right? And then as that thinking and that way of being, or those downloads, we can say, get integrated, moving them into the emotional place, moving them into your practice, moving into the spiritual, and reflecting on that through a Piscean lens, as eventually this is going to move us more and more closer into Aries. So for now, it's the basic of it is some serious skin shedding, and you've trained for this and you practice this, right? You're watching this video for a reason. You've watched many other videos on astrology for a reason. And this is kind of that moment where a lot of intensity forges something. And I think that's what I really like about this moment. And that's what I'm playing out in my life in this moment. And that's what I'm seeing played out all around me is a forge, a furnace. It's intense. Take care of yourself. Continue to remember your practice. And we will meet again soon and talk about the lunar eclipse. What I want to give in this post is tarot cards to work with, music that I've been listening to, and an invitation into the space that I'm creating that's a school. And essentially what it is a private feed where I post my daily reflections and notes on the astrology, on tarot, on journaling, on my healing practices. And this is part of the construction of the thing that I have been working on for 3 or 4 years now, as I've studied. This is the part of the construction of something that I've worked on with tarot and my studies of astrology for 10, 15 years. And it's the next chapter. It's what I'm pushing myself into when I don't really know where it's going to go or what it's going to be. So it's terrifying and really fun. And I'd love to share it with all of you. It's invitation only. Feel free to give me an invite or to give me a DM to reach out to me if you'd like to be in. I'm purposely keeping it very small and intimate for now, but this eclipse is really highlighting to me that I want a private kind of space to foster. It's a very Aquarian thing, a collective space that's thinking outside the box or that's applying all this information that we have about these systems and building with community in a certain way. So that could be the big, message that I have to you is that, and I've posted about this, like, are you collectivized right now? What does that look like to you? Who's your collective? What's your collective? Are you solo right now? Are you perhaps in solitude or even a little lonely? What does that look like to you? And was it on purpose to give yourself care and health and healing? Are you in a place where you need to cut some relationships off or pruning from people? This is a time of year where we prune the fruit trees in the Northern Hemisphere. Cut things back this time of year so that the growth in April and May and June is sustaining and structured in a good way. This is the farm logic, right? This is the farmer's knowledge. So this intensity, this, whatever you want to call it, this container will last for 2 weeks. And in this, we have this Saturn-Neptune conjunction, and we have this Mercury retrograde, and we also have planets crossing the North Node. So there's a lot of opportunity here to receive information in a time when the path is not necessarily clear, but the information you're receiving will get kept and integrated and utilized and rooted into you so that when the fog clears, as Saturn and Neptune come apart a little bit and the energies shift, you will be resourced and ready to go. I know it's been a very long process of peeling and healing and peeling and healing and peeling and healing and peeling and healing. We are continuing on and we are finding each other here. And that's what's so beautiful about this moment. This is the Aquarian solar eclipse moment. So sending this out to all of you, sending my love. My name's Nick. I'm an astrologer, a teacher, a mentor, a wild man, and a lot of other things. I'm going to continue to post here. Please listen to the music. I've been healing myself. I've been just loving these tunes that I've sent out. This is a particularly fun one that I have a lot of connection with. And, please use these cards. Please use these resources. Have a beautiful day or evening, and I will speak with you again soon.